He understands and connects to the holistic side of athlete development. He connects to the kids, connects to coaching kids.
That's Jonty Skinner talking about another coach. And if you stick around to the end of this podcast, you'll get the full context and figuring out who they're talking about. This is Mark Rodriguez, the coach and producer of Heavy or Not podcast, and we're going to bring you a small slice of a recent seminar hosted by WAFSU.org, the World Aquatic Federation of Schools and Universities. That's WAFSU.org. You can find the whole presentation online there. And our esteemed guest is Coach Jonty Skinner, a former world record holder and longtime coach from Alabama to Indiana to many years with USA Swimming out of Colorado Springs. Johnny and I have a little bit of history in that the first book I ever published, Tide Teamwork, was written by Don Gambrell and Jonty Skinner, coaches at the University of Alabama. That title was the first electronic book ever published in the sports world. It had a physical book, and it included 2 5.25-inch floppy drives with a lot of spreadsheet data. Now for some discussion on the geopolitics of swimming from Dennis of the Philippines and Jonty.
You are from South Africa, right?
Originally.
Yeah, originally. As of now, the Olympic president is coming from another part of Africa. But most of the good swimmers are coming from South Africa. What is the difference between the other sides of the African area?
There's an interesting book, Eckstein, called Taboo. It was actually controversial when it came out. And he talked about the evolution of different sports from different parts of the world, where we get the best, where we get the best runners from. We get the best distance runners from Kenya, but they're not just Kenya. They're on the west side of the Rift Valley, specifically from the Nandi tribe or the Kalenjin district, and everything up the left side of the west side of the Rift Valley into Ethiopia, around there, all produce great distance runners, right? Yeah. All the sprinters in the world come out West Africa from Nigeria and the Congo. And their roots have, in the top 500 rankings in the 100-meter sprint on land have traced their roots, from that area, that part of the world. But to be honest, South Africa has produced a lot of great athletes, mainly because they were populated. When the soldiers came back from the wars, the war between England and France in the 1800s, they came back from those battles, and the Industrial Revolution was going on, and so the workforce was limited. So they shipped a lot of those soldiers out to South Africa. They sent a lot of those soldiers to some degree actually sent more of the criminals to Australia, which explains a lot, right? But they sent a lot of their soldiers to South Africa. So a lot of those soldiers are the base populations or the white populations in Southern Africa. And, your best athletes were your soldiers. If you understand what I'm saying. And so when you populate that into the Southern Africa and even if you look at the sport of some of the sports coming out of Southern Africa, I mean, they've always had great athletes. They've had great runners. That rugby team right now, that integrated rugby team is dynamic. It is the most dangerous team out there because now we're getting the best of African culture, some of that initial white culture that was infused into that part of the world in the early 1800s from that genetic source, and you're getting what you're getting. So that's why a lot of those great athletes come from that area. But you're also starting to see some great athletes coming out of Tunisia, some of that area, that are producing some really good distance swimmers because they're part of that genetic rift that comes around off that Rift Valley area. So they're great runners, distance runners out of Tunisia. Now they're realizing that they have great middle distance swimmers coming out of Tunisia. So genetically, it just depends your long-term genetics, where you come from, what you're really good at. So if you look at the genetic lines and the makeup of the genetic lines and how they evolved and how they came to be where they are, that explains a lot of why people come from these different regions that produce those kinds of results.
I tried to do some research, and the big names in Africa for swimming, for now, is the president of the Olympics. That's about three times Olympian, and you, okay, that is coming from Africa. So, is there other names that made it so popular besides the two of you
Oh,
in Africa?
we're just talking in this world of swimming. There's an evolution of swimming in South Africa.
Yeah.
I'll probably be more recognized because I went from an athlete to be a coach, and
Okay.
so I've extended my longevity in terms of my name being part of the public record, so to speak. So that's why I would carry maybe a stronger name simply because of my coaching career as well. Christy Coventry, swimming into politics, into sport politics to where she is today is fantastic. It's fantastic that we have a swimmer in that position. It's wonderful. And she's such a good person too. She was a great kid to work with when she was a swimmer. And so I don't know. I think it.
I thought Anthony Nesty came from Africa. I
No, it's
thought
from Suriname.
Anthony Nesty coming from Suriname.
Suriname, yeah.
Suriname. Yeah. I just check it out
Yeah.
where Anthony
No,
Nesty.
he's from Suriname.
Yeah. Now he went. Lately, he was chosen as head coach for the ladies of the national team. Yeah.
Yeah. No, he's a great guy. If you know him, if you've met him, he's very quiet spoken,
Mm.
kind of a little bit introverted to some degree, but he's successful. I think he's very successful as a coach because he understands and connects to the holistic side of athlete development. He connects to the kids, connects to coaching kids.
Jonty's seminar, given recently to the WAFSU.org audience, is online, and it's nearly 2 hours long, but it's full of many, many valuable lessons that all swim coaches and fans of sport should know. He talks about the brain, and it's very insightful, and it talks. You just got to go see it. Please subscribe and follow along. We'll put small chunks of the presentation into future podcast episodes, but do go check out the full seminar if you have some time.